Morning. I made my own twist tobacco about 3 months ago. I cellared it, let it age for about 3 months before I divided the rope into sections and jarred them individually. And this is a little bit that I sampled right away. After 3 months of aging, there's that little bit of aging made a lot of difference. It's very good. I figure I might as well go ahead and sample it since I'm not gonna be opening the other jars for another 6 months. That's the thing about making your own tobacco and smoking a pipe. It teaches patience. It teaches you to slow down. We should all slow down a little bit. This world is so out of control. All about chasing your tail and instant gratification. And I think that's part of the reason why everybody's so uptight. Just part of the reason. But one reason people are uptight, and this is the thought I wanted to share, is we have this idea that we're supposed to be pursuing happiness all the time. We all have this idea of what constitutes happiness. Your vision of what would make you happy, my idea of what would make me happy, and someone else's idea of what would make them happy is always different. One person might say, well, if I achieve this milestone in my career, I'll be happy. Next person might say, well, if I acquire this much wealth, I'll be happy. Another person might say, if I become famous, I'll be happy. Another person might say, well, if I find the perfect spouse, I'll be happy. All too often, I've seen people achieve these goals they get there and they realize, oh shoot, that didn't make me happy. There's always something more. There's always something else. The person looking for the perfect spouse is not going to, man, I don't know if you can hear that. We got jet planes flying over. The person looking for the perfect spouse is suddenly going to discover that that spouse that they found isn't as perfect as they'd envisioned. Newsflash, there's no such thing as a perfect spouse. Everybody has their flaws. Everybody has their imperfections. When it comes to wealth, there's always more wealth to be had. If your happiness is based on wealth, you're never really going to be happy. And it goes on and on. There are a lot of people out there who basically had the whole world handed to them. famous people, very wealthy and famous people. For example, Hollywood actors, the big guys. Why do you think they're prone to alcohol and drugs and other addictions? Because when they got those things, had the whole world handed to them, there was still a hole that needed filling. They didn't know how to fill it. And I have no doubt they worked hard and went through all the hoops and did everything they had to do in order to become wealthy and famous. And they're not happy. I've met many wealthy people. And the majority of them were some of the most miserable people I've ever met. Wealth didn't make them happy. There's a rising level of divorces, most of them initiated by women who decided they weren't happy in their relationship. Not because the guy was necessarily bad, they just weren't happy. These women just weren't happy. The guy didn't make them happy. They're looking for somebody to make them happy. Here's the problem with happiness, especially if it's something we're striving for. Happiness is hard to quantify. You can't say when you have X, Y, and Z, you're happy. You're going to be happy. It doesn't work that way. And here's why. Happiness is not something that is acquired externally. It isn't given to you by outside forces, whether it's wealth or fame or perfect spouse or what have you. Happiness is here. It's here. You can't have an overall definition for happiness. There's no formula for happiness. But everybody's pursuing this elusive will-o'-the-wisp. And nobody's really achieving it. When they reach that goal where they believe they'd be happy, turns out there's a whole other list of things that makes them miserable. Or maybe turns out that thing they thought would make them happy didn't. Here's the problem. You're never going to be happy if you don't first master contentment. Contentment with what you already have. People are so busy counting all the things they don't have and wish they had, would like to have, that they forget about all the things that they do have. When you have that kind of mindset, you're never going to be happy. When you become content with your lot in life, that misery that accompanies wishing you had X, Y, and Z goes away. When you read the Bible, it doesn't talk about pursuit of happiness. It doesn't talk about constantly trying to get more and have more and all the rest of that. It talks about being content with what you've got. Now, all this is not to say that we shouldn't strive for better things, especially if we have families. To strive for something better is a good thing. But when you make that better thing, whatever it happens to be, the object upon which your happiness hinges, you're never really going to be happy. When it comes to marriage, recognizing that the perfect spouse does not exist, and you have to work through each other's imperfections, including your own. You do have them. We all do. And learning to be content with what we have and learn to love each other even through the difficult points. You learn to be content. And happiness springboards off of content. No matter what your lot in life, you can be happy if you are content. But today, people aren't taught contentment. We're always shown something bigger and better that we should have. You know, the women these days, they want the guy who's 6 foot plus and makes 6 figures and it looks like a Hollywood movie star and has all these different things. You're really limiting your pool of options, aren't you? And you wonder why you're never happy. You get married and suddenly, after a while, he's not that perfect person you wished he was. So you move on. And then we wonder why divorce rates are so high, why so many children are growing up in broken homes. Men aren't immune to this either. I'm using women as an example because statistically, they are the most likely to end a marriage on those grounds. Just aren't happy anymore because they never learned contentment. People who are pursuing wealth, they're always seeing these things shown to them through advertising and social media. Social media, that is bad for contentment. You're always seeing what everybody else has, and everybody's posting the best about their lives, and sometimes even lying about what their lives are like. And you think, man, I want that for myself. You become discontented. That's why I don't touch social media. It's bad stuff. It's poison. If we can just learn contentment with what we have, we'll be happy, no matter what our situation. Whether we're poor or rich or somewhere in between, contentment is important. Because, as I said before, happiness does not come from an external force. It comes from within you, your mindset. You'll never be happy if you're constantly thinking about that thing you think will make you happy. You'll achieve that thing that you thought would make you happy, and suddenly you discover there's something missing. There's something more. You're not as happy as you thought you'd be. But if we learn contentment, we're happy with what we have, and anything extra we get is bonus, and we appreciate it that much more. Contentment is key to happiness. If we can learn contentment, the happiness will follow. And in this day and age, people need to learn contentment more than ever. With the economy being what it is, the difficulties that life throws at us in our constantly changing political and environmental and economic situation, we need to learn contentment. Because all those things that we think will make us happy are getting further and further and further out of reach. Whether it's, wealth or fame or whatever it is, you fill in the blank. When I learned to be content, my stress levels went down significantly. I noticed I was getting happier. And every person I know who's truly happy, relaxed, pleasant to be around, they've learned contentment. So, if anything, my thought today is stop pursuing happiness. Start learning contentment. And then you'll get to experience happiness. That's my thought for the day. Hope you have a good one. Catch you on the flip side.